What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Zamboni. I'm a musician at Astrology, and it is time to talk about the astrology of the week ahead. As always, I thank you so very much for being here. Thank you for hitting up my Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. If this is useful to you, if the forecasts are helpful to you, thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for going to zamboniphone.com. You can find readings there. You can get 10-minute reading, which is very much like this, where you can send me something and I'll send you a little something back. You can get a Zoom reading where we'll talk back and forth and have a conversation for an hour or half an hour. Thank you for going. Oh, also at zamboniphone.com, you can find the course that is upcoming, Astrology from the Ground Up. If you would like to learn astrology with me in a super relatable and pop culturally relevant kind of fashion, as well as understanding some of the basic foundations of why the significations are what they are, then it's a really good resource for that, and it's going to be super dope and fun. We're going to have a great time. There's a workbook component. You're going to read your own chart. Going to be a party. Check it out, zamboniphone.com. Let's see what we got going on here this week. So this week we have a fair bit of shifting and moving going on. Shout out to all my Libra people. Happy birthday to you. We got the equinox happening today, about an hour ago or something like that. The technical equinox happened. When I was a baby astrologer, I used to listen to Ann Ortley's forecast, and she used to say that you could put an egg on its head because the earth was perfectly balanced in that moment. I tried it this morning. It didn't work. Maybe it was my table was not level enough or something like that, but anyway, we did make it to the point now where we've got the equal balance of light and dark. Daytime and nighttime are exactly the same today. And then we are moving into a period of darkness, which is to say that the sun is moving into fall in Libra. This is kind of a difficult position for the sun. If we're thinking about the sun things, then we're thinking about shining brightly out in the world, the self, the soul, the light, the thing that's sort of like behind the eyes, right? The sun is going to be associated with vision and eyes kind of generally. And so Libra is a difficult place for the sun. The sun is sometimes going to be confident and outgoing. And then Libra is a sign that is very strongly interested in what's going on the other side. And so sometimes the sun in Libra can be a little bit what's the word here? Giving over to the other. What do you think? What do you want to do? No, let's not necessarily think about what I want to do, which is what the sun would do, but deflecting a little bit. So that is interesting, especially because the sun there, first thing in Libra, is going to interact with the south node as well. And so the south node is an eclipse point. We've got an eclipse coming up. That'll be next week. So the sun on the south node is just going to drain more of that sun energy. So I would expect the sun stuff, the sun can also be sort of associated with cheer and the life-giving properties and this kind of thing. That stuff is going to be rough this week, especially since we can also notice that Mars and Saturn are going to be in a perfect trine. So we've got Mars in Cancer making a trine to Saturn in Pisces. This is two water signs. I don't really think of either of these planets as being particularly strong or competent at doing their thing in this sign. Saturn in Pisces at least has darkness going for it. Mars is in fall in Cancer, not super comfortable there. And, it feels very emotional. These are the no-no boys, right? These are the malefics, the ones that sort of bring discomfort or that have to do with challenge or the difficult things in life, right? They are both in very emotional places. And so the image that I had here when I was thinking about this was of the meme of it's me when I'm listening to sad songs when I'm already sad, and it's an image of a dude in a thunderstorm, and there's rain pouring down, and he's spraying his car with water. He's trying to wash his car in the rainstorm. This is that kind of vibe. It's very big emotions that just want to overflow all over the damn place. And especially with the sun being kind of drained here in Libra on the south node, this looks like there's a lot of potential for feeling ways that you don't necessarily like. Sad songs actually probably is good medicine here. Spending some time with that music that makes you feel all the feelings and then that kind of thing. Just being there for a little bit might be something that could be worthwhile. Just to feelings are often worthwhile. Emotions are here, and you don't necessarily get to dictate what they are. You don't get to tell your body how to feel. You don't get to tell yourself how to feel. And so feeling it might be a good thing to do. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be reactive and to harm yourself and others based on these kinds of feelings. And in fact, we can see that Mercury is going to move into Libra a little bit into the week. But before we get to that point, Mercury is going to make a grand trine between Mercury in Virgo. Before moving into Libra, Mercury in Virgo is going to make a trine to Uranus in Taurus and to Pluto in Capricorn. So that's a grand trine. All three earth signs are involved here. Mercury is very good in Virgo. Now we do have an opposition to Neptune in Pisces, and so this brings more of that Pisces like feelingsy. Things are kind of confused, or like big water energy going on, bottom of the ocean, like being sort of carried around by the current or the tides and this kind of thing. So that's a major component, and that's an opposition. So we're going to definitely notice that in the Mercury stuff. But Mercury trine to Uranus and Mercury trine to Pluto and Pluto trine to Uranus as well. This looks like some kind of like technical working around new ways to innovate or approach practical situations. And so if there is stuff that feels big emotional stuff and might be kind of sad and this kind of stuff, then, there might be a way to approach that, even if the sadness isn't technically all true. Like it's not factual necessarily, right? We got the opposition in Neptune, so there's going to be some like fantastic stuff involved here, like the stuff of fantasy. Things are like a little bit worse in my head than they maybe are in reality, that kind of thing. But what I've been thinking here is like a little bit like the discovery of Neptune. So the way that Neptune was discovered was they found Uranus, and they were looking at Uranus in the sky, and they were pointing the telescope at where they thought Uranus should be, and then Uranus was not there in that spot. And they were like, what's going on here? And so they hypothesized that there would be a next big planet out on the other side of Uranus. And so they were like, okay, so if that were true, then let's run some calculations about what would happen to Uranus if there was a next planet over there. And in doing that, they found that they could find Uranus. And they were like, okay, so we think that this is real. And so we're going to point the telescope now at a dark area of sky where we think a next big planet, Planet X is what they were calling it in that moment. We're going to point the telescope to where we think Planet X is going to show up. And they did. And then that's how they found Neptune. So there's something practically useful in operating on a hypothesis that may not actually be true, that we're like kind of like working around in the darkness a little bit. Things aren't necessarily, we don't know if this is true, but if it were true, then what could we take downstream from that? And we might be able to learn things that are actually useful. So this looks like something to me that could be worth engaging with. I love a good thought experiment, especially with Mercury in a strong position like this. And Mercury is actually going to be very strong even once Mercury moves into Libra. I like Mercury in Libra. This is Mercury in an air sign, so very good with like the communication and working with others in Libra and this kind of thing. We will see this conjunction to the South Node, but that's actually going to be around the same time that we see the Mercury Cazimi. And so the way that I've been talking about Libra South Node stuff has been like generous, sort of giving to the other in some kind of way. I also think that this is really interesting because at the same time, we've got Venus, who rules Libra, moving out of Libra and moving into Scorpio. This is a very intuitive kind of placement for Venus. And so this is big feelings time. We're feeling a lot of emotions and feeling like maybe kind of vengeful and these kinds of things, right? Kind of sexy potentially as well, right? or you know, like the fantasies can get kind of wild in this place. But there's something that is deeply penetrating that might be good when it comes to looking for insight and this sort of stuff. If you are looking for insight, you can check out zambonifunk.com. I can do a reading for you, or you can learn it yourself.